And we're back. I'm on the bridge. I would say where I left you in the last video, but I took a slight detour, didn't I? I decided to tell you about the cable car. Anyway, what we're on the path of today is the former Green Street station. You may have noticed as Erica panned round, we started off on the roundabout on Route de 4, and that's the exact site of the station. So, the station was built in August 1873 and was the site of the first, how did they word it in the book, mishap of the line. But we'll explain more about that, and we'll have a look at where the train went, how it came out, how it joined up from Snow Hill to Green Street and where it went from there when we get down there. So for now, Erica, cue the intro. Right, so as we make our way down to the roundabout and all the traffic that comes out the tunnel, so I shall apologise in advance for any noise there may or may not be whilst I'm talking to you. Hopefully my microphone will filter most of the excess noise out, but as we've learned with busy roads, it doesn't always work out that way, so we'll see. So Green Street Station was behind me. It was the site of the only semaphore signal on the entire line. Behind me is the original Green Street, which quite coolly was also the site of the missing link, which will be a forthcoming video about how the Germans managed to do what they couldn't do in the 1800s and link the JR&T on the other side of the tunnel to the JER here before the tunnel existed. That's another video. However, what we do need to do right now is continue this way, and we'll follow the track bed, or where the track bed used to be along, and I'll show you how it used to get to St Luke's Station, which was the next station along the line. But this is just a massive, massive area, and all of it, all that roundabout section there, all of that was the goods depot. You had four lines coming in for storing goods on that went into two separate sheds, and then you had two separate lines on top of that to go in and out of the station over there that was Snow Hill. So it was a hive of activity back then, just like it is now. Just now it's motor cars, back then it was the steam train. I much prefer the steam train. I don't think it would have smelt so bad as it does here right now. Either way, exit stage left, left. No, that's right. I don't care about your right. You coming? They're ruining my video. Damn it, woman. So, this is pretty much as it was. So if you follow the curvature of the road here, that's kind of the same curve you had there. So if you follow this through here, where that van's coming through and along, and then through the two lanes of the roundabout and into Snow Hill, that's pretty much the path that the two lines on the far right of the road there would have been taking into Snow Hill. But then closer to us, you had four lines that split out, and then you had, where the roundabout is, your two sheds. Now once you got to about here or so, the two lines that went up to the Snow Hill came across here and came across to this side of the road and crossed the freight lines. It was up here on one of these freight lines where this first mishap I mentioned at the beginning happened, where a new carriage had just been delivered to the depot from coming in at Gorey Pier, and it rolled of its own accord because of the slight incline all the way down the track, all the way down here, through over Roseville Street, straight through, broke the level crossing gates on St Luke's station, carried on going and didn't stop until it reached Greve Desert. Luckily, nobody was hurt. But yeah, he just decided to run away. It was like Thomas the Tank Engine and the Troublesome Trucks before Thomas the Tank Engine existed. So what we've got here is harder to tell at this bit, but you have the original retaining wall here, and then you have the houses. You can see like the roof there behind it, because they're at a completely different level to the track. So you have, as you can see, the road's quite level here, but as you go further down, it dips. There's a hill. I don't know if it comes out so well on the camera, but it dips. Now that's quite the incline for a train, especially when it's coming up. So what they did was they built a bank, and so when the train got to Roseville Street, which is ahead of us, it actually was higher up than the road level. And then right, so as I was saying to you guys before, my battery rudely died on me. So the track ran down here on a bank, which kept it level, which meant it crossed Roseville Street at a high level, and then it came gradually down on an incline to be back at road level by the time it met with St Luke's. So there's a lot happening in a short amount of time. But you can see here, this is another original retaining wall. So if you look at the bottom half of the wall here, you have like a rough bit, then you have a smooth bit, and then you have another rough bit. This rough section, this is the level the track was running at. So, and it becomes more apparent here where it turns into a lip. So that lip is your track height. So you can see, as you come along here, it was at quite the height by the time it got to the other end. And you can see this height here, it went across. Now you can see this white wall here, and you can see where it's painted white, but you can also see it's not been completely knocked down. Now those little stones that are left there, that's what remains of the buttress. So when you see the little section on top here, that's the height that the bridge was at when the train went across. So it went straight through there. I'll take you through there and have a look, and I'll show you the height. Now up until, I think it was the 90s they built these, definitely in the 80s it was still here. You could still see the buttress and it had grass growing on top of it. So what I'm going to do for you now, as I'm talking, is I'm going to fade a picture in I found on disused stations. I will put the person's name who photographed it at the bottom of the photograph, and you can see how that used to be there, and the original corner wall, and how everything was much higher, and that house, that wasn't there. And you can clearly see the buttress for what would have been that bridge. Right, this whole section is an area called the Laurels now. It's flats and things. But the railway here, you can see here, this lip on the top of the granite wall. That's where your track bed was. That's where your train went across. And it went straight through here, where there's still some of the buttress left on the other side. You can see all that overgrowth. That's the remainder of the bridge that went over Roseville Street. You can see it still hasn't quite come down yet. There's a wall there as well. I'll see if we can get to that. Right, so I've been kindly let in to a private area which is called the Laurels, which is now private property. But you can see the end of our bridge here. This has got both walls, so you can see here clearly where the bridge was cemented in place along here on the ledge, and you can also see the cement sticking out on the top. And it went interesting that they have a doorway under the train bridge. I don't know what was here before, whether that was just for servicing reasons. And you can see it goes along here, and it goes across the rooftop of that garage across the road there. But interestingly, you've also got the same wall here, and it goes along there. but then you've got a new wall here which was built when the Laurels was built. And whoever lives in number 10, you're very fortunate to have a piece of railway history in your garden. You have the only remaining piece of the original Roseville Street Bridge in your garden. So that's pretty cool. But Erica's just talking to Gregory, who was nice enough to let us in, so thank you to him. But yeah, some interesting bits of history here. You can see here how the cream wall fades into the granite wall. And the actual reason that the Laurels is here, which is now, like I say, private houses, for two reasons. One, this made it an easy, this section here that used to be the bridge made it an easy access to give people access to in and out to the houses. And two, the other section here where the actual private estate area goes up this way was the former home of the Laurels Hotel. Which was the only hotel on Route de Fall. Right, so I'm across the road now from the Laurels, just come out. Before I go around the other side, which is what I was going to do, I've just noticed here, you can still see here, the connection there, and then the section on top, where you used to have your bridge that went straight through along here on an angle. So, let's see if we can find the other end, or at least where it would have come out. Right, so we're now down in Rodney Street, this place is called. It's a little street, it's just behind Cleveland Garages, or Express Auto Parts as you might know it. And you can see here the wall. You can see now our train's dropped down quite low, it's almost back at street level. And it would have continued on at that angle, so it would have gone straight through these houses. I do apologise that this video seems to be mainly just looking at wall. But for the most part, coming out of town, the train just it was on a bridge. So I'm not sure with all the red tape, legal things and stuff you have to go through now, health and safety, etc. They'd allow such a thing now. In fact, it would have come out just over where those cream houses are on an angle, followed this road here, and would have gone through. Continued on this angle, it would have been back down pretty much by street level by now, because as you can see it's slightly higher over there. So by the time it got to the Hotel de Normandy, because it would have gone straight through these houses here on the corner, they wouldn't have been there. It would have been back to street level, and then it would have almost been at our end destination, St Luke's Station. Right, so Rodney Avenue's there. Our train's come up here, which is now Cleveland Avenue. It's come out here. It's gone straight through the Hotel de Normandy, and what we're going to do now is I'll go around and I'll show you where it would have come out on the other side. So we're now coming around to the other side of the Hotel de Normandy, and if you've been following the channel with all the different videos, you'll be familiar with this section, as this is where we did one of the Lost Hotels videos, or what used to be Demi de Pas Hotel. But what we need to do today is come down here into what's called Dyke Road, and we're now at the back of the hotel, and so your train would have come out after bulldozing the what do you call it, building, would have come out through there. Right, so if I could interrupt myself for a minute, I've just been up there next to the back of the hotel telling you where St Station was. I was kind of right but wrong. Right houses, wrong side. So the station was actually this side, not the other side where I showed you, or was about to show you just now. So that's why my clothes magically changed. That's why it's not quite as sunny as hot, which, if I'm honest, I'm slightly grateful for. But the former site of St Luke's Station is in fact just behind me. So let's go have a look at that now. Right, so this is the site of St Luke's, or would have been St Luke's station. So looking east as we're looking towards Goree, you would have had a platform on the side where the garages are, if I'm reading the photograph right. If I'm not, I apologise. And then you would have had the rails, and they went straight through down the road that's now used as an access point to St Luke's Crescent itself, which was still there at the time, but we'll go down there in the next video. For now, we're just going to stop here at St Luke's station. Station buildings would have been here where the garages now are. The houses, I'm not sure if they were here at the time or not. I think they were a later build. I think they were built in maybe 50s, late 40s. But St Luke's Crescent was there. Beach Crescent, which is what these ones are here, they weren't here yet as far as I'm aware. But yeah, so as you can see, this one's completely demolished. There is nothing to tell you that there was a train station here. The only real thing you've got to tell you that there is any kind of train station here is how narrow that is, because it's been made purely just to accommodate the width of the train, the end. And I think there's a house just down there as well that may have been here when the train was, but apart from that, there's nothing. Right, so now showing you the actual place where St Luke's station was. Back to me as it stands now about 5 days ago. Right, so talking to you on this side of the road might be interesting because they're doing scaffolding. But where this grey house is, the cream house next door, and in fact the one further across with the cockerel on top there, the spire, that's where the old train station for St Luke's would have been. Right, so I thought I'd clarify some stuff because Erica was just watching this back. She says it's a bit confusing for someone who's not a train puffer nut or whatever you want to call them. Or just doesn't quite understand what's going on. So I thought I'd explain with this picture what exactly is where. So where we were before, when I was showing you St Luke's / Beach Crescent, that's where you can see in this picture the track bed. Where the houses now sit for Beach Crescent is what you can see there as the platform. And then those three houses on roadside, which you just saw in the last clip, that's where the station building was. You can also see they got like some sort of little garden or something off to the side there. Just for anybody who's wondering, this picture is actually facing towards town. So you can see how much that area has changed. I mean, like just the white buildings there, directly after the station, they've now been removed, and that's like the Hotel de Normandy. So the change over there is unfathomable when you imagine also that like all that grass area the side of the track bed is now all housing as well. So that's a massive amount of change, and I can only imagine if someone was alive then and they looked at that place now, they would not believe that they're in the same place. But I hope that clarifies everything for you in case you were slightly confused. Right, so that's the story of the JER so far up to St Luke's station. Next video is going to be from St Luke's station where we just finished up. We'll go down as far as the Greve Desert stations. There'll be two stations. The next one, there'll be Greve Desert and there'll be the Georgetown station, and we'll follow its path down there. Which one's going to come first out of that video and the curiosities video I'm working on, I'm not sure. There may also be a 1 week gap because I've reached that point in the summer where there's an awful lot going on at once, where kind of there's a lot to do work wise, and obviously, you know, like me and Eric have got 4 kids, so trying to do all that as well is a bit much. So there may be a week gap, so if there is, I do apologise. Life things, you know. but otherwise it'll all be cool. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and have an awesome week. Thank you so much for your support and for watching. And wherever you are, I hope it's as sunny where you are as it is here today, or it may be slightly cooler. Until then guys, anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.